Hi, welcome to Factorio. This playthrough will be a little different, since I have some rules in place to make it more interesting. Rule number 1, it is not allowed to place buildings onto the hazard concrete, with the exception for belts, pipes, and rails that may go through these gaps over here. Rule number 2, I will not be allowed to pick up buildings that are larger than 2x2. So it's okay to pick up burner mining drills and these smaller furnaces. It will also be allowed to pick up these initial buildings once I can. But for example, assemblers, miners and so on will have to stay where they are. One tiny exception is I will allow myself to pick up buildings if I made a small mistake, but only immediately after placing them and not hours later. Rule number 3, I will have to stay in these blocks as long as they're not completely filled up with machines. After that, I will be allowed to move on to the next block to fill that one up with machines as well. You see on the map that we have 10 blocks available right now. I will start in this one over here. And later when they are full, we will get additional blocks. The exception to that rule will be, for example, in the case of copper, I will have to move to another block to put up copper mining over there. So resource mining in new blocks is allowed if needed. Other than that, I will have to fill up that block first. The reason for that is to get a bit of a spaghetti base, a bit of a sprawling base, to fill the plane and not having too much space in between buildings, to make it a bit more interesting. The tiles that you see and the way they are connected via these gaps means that they can only be placed in a way that fills a Penrose pattern, which has some symmetry. It can be rotated, but there is no translational symmetry, so there will always be something new in the pattern. Let's talk about map settings. There will be no enemies, there is no pollution, I want to concentrate on building. The water is scaled down to almost the minimum. The coverage is also scaled down, and we are at lakes elevation, so you will see lots of these smaller lakes like you see over here. And we will not fill those up with landfill. Cliffs are also reduced to almost the minimum size and the minimum continuity, so we actually have a chance to get through these blocks because these limits with the borders between the blocks, I think already is enough. Resources have double the frequency, but only half the size, so we'll get a lot of small patches. They're a bit richer than normal. Let's talk about mods. The main mod here is Factorio 2. In addition, there are a few of BZ mods active, namely graphite, lead, silica and silicon, tin, titanium, zirconium, and the foundry mod. Since we have no enemies, I'm using my own mod Pacifist to get rid of all the military weapons, military research and so on. We have a few aesthetic mods in place. One is alien biomes. You see that from the snow I'm running around in. We have clean concrete to make the concrete surfaces a bit more even. We have color coding. At some point I would like to fill out these blocks with differently colored concrete. And we have ore eraser. So when one of these borders lands on an ore patch, I will just simply remove the ore that is on the border so we can mine up the patches in theory and the borders look cleaner. And apart from that, we have a bunch of quality of life and smaller helper mods active. Let's look into research. At first, I would like to go for automation. So I will need to To do that, I will need to power this lab. I will need a couple of the electric poles, a couple belts probably, and I will have to make these basic tech cards, and for that I will have to get a bit of wood. I will not be using this fabricator because it's directly on the forbidden concrete, so I'll use this one for the tech cards. I will need a lot of wood for those tech cards, so I think the next thing after automation will be to go in the direction of greenhouses. So tech cards are set up. The belt for them that goes through this gap up here is set up as well, but we are still missing copper. And that's that. Here come the first copper cables. I also set up this assembler to make some gear wheels. And there's our first tech card. We are low on power, so let's put down some wind turbines. That should do it for now. That's automation cores. And in order to make assembly machines, I will need lead. So let's make a few burner miners and put them down here. And that's automation. Next up, steam power. And that was steam power, and immediately after, the electronic mining drill. Let's go towards greenhouses, which will need the crusher first, stone processing second, and then greenhouses. I might want to queue laboratories first, so I will be able to actually build laboratories and not have that old lab be my bottleneck. First things first, use the first assemblers for the tech cards. And that's the tech card assembly done. I will no longer need those old assemblers down here. And that was the labs. But before we get to make some, we should go for steam power. For a steam setup, we will need underground pipes, and those will need solder, and that needs tin plates. In addition, we will need a belt of coal for the power. So I will move these burner mining drills and add that new belt. Let's get started with our power plant. This should do. The only thing needed is water. And here we go. We have steam power. Let's make a few laps. While the labs are crafting, I put down some assemblers for a mini mall. Iron beams are slow, so this will be the first thing to do here. Gears never hurt. And belts will be always needed. Well, it seems I made a mistake. Fixed it. Let's put on the labs. To get the tech cars to the lab, I would need underground belts, which I don't have. So I'll have to take the coal belt and loop it around. And here we go, our labs are researching again. But our assemblers are low on power, because I forgot to put down power poles. Let's remove the old reactor. Crushers are done. Next up is stone processing. I put down the crusher, but while waiting for stone processing, I'll have to get new wood. That's stone processing. Next, greenhouse. We have a bit of wood, so let's get some glass going. That's glass set up. Almost. And that's greenhouses finished. Next go, logistics. For that we need automation tech cards. And then logistics. Greenhouses need not only glass but also wood, and of course I put it all into research. Chop chop. That's the red tech cards. Since we don't have those yet, logistics won't come. So I will research the pickaxe first. That was a pickaxe already. Let's go for stone walls. Not that we need them, but research is research. That was stone walls. I don't even get to put down the glass houses. Glass house makes 0.66 wood per second. These take 0.48 altogether, so this one glass house should be enough to make the wood for these tech cards. I put it right here, because once we have the first research, we can just put underground belts and get rid of that coal belt. Hooray for long underground belts. Underground pipes. Let's look what else we need wood for. The basic tech cards, electronic circuits, and small electric poles for now. Later we'll need it for coke as well. And let's see whether electronic circuits have an alternative recipe. They don't. Still, I'll leave the one greenhouse here just for the science, and everything else will be made elsewhere. So let's make red tech cards. For the normal ones, we have 4 assemblers, and they take 20 seconds crafting time for 5. These take 20 seconds crafting times for 5 as well, so we will need 4 assemblers for this one as well. And these have 2 seconds crafting time, so mathematically we need 0.4 assemblers for these. In addition, we need 1 automation core per second. And these make 1 per second, so we need 1 more assembler for these. So let's put these down. Alright, and this is the plan. Iron will come in this belt, and then we will have the iron rods and iron gears made here. We are still lacking long inserters, so for now I will have to hand feed these. That should do. Then the iron sticks and iron gear wheels together with some copper plates that I have to get on this other belt will have to come in here. And this one will take the copper wire from over here and the iron plates from down here as soon as we have logistics. And then this will go into the red packs, and these will then, as soon as we have logistics, go onto this belt as well, so the labs are fit. Until then, I'll have to hand feed everything a bit. And here come the first red tech cards. And we are researching logistics. That's logistics done. Let me set up the belts correctly. Okay. Underground belts and inserters have been made. Everything is hooked up. Now the next thing I want to have are actual smelter columns instead of having these things on the ore patches. And for that I will need miners, but those have been researched already. So let's go for the next researches. Lamps to have some light, and the blueprint shotgun. That's lamps already. And the blueprint shotgun. Next up, repair packs that we won't need. A blueprint shotgun upgrade. Sentinels to get to raiders eventually. And the shelter. Let's build a smelting column for iron. Okay, here we have a smelting column for iron and a few electric miners, which also will be mining quite a bit of stone. So I probably should turn a few of these around. These ones will have more stone than iron ore, so I will swap those. And these will have more iron ore. The other ones I could not place because they would be mining graphite, which I can't mine just yet because that needs steam. So for now this will have to do, and I will have to splice this part into this belt with the input priority, and I will have to try to balance this a bit, like so. Luckily I can pick up the belt and all the stuff as much as I want, so at some point I will maybe reverse the whole thing and do some sorting back here, because all these ores are really mixed up with each other. but I will leave that for later. Over here, however, if we don't use the stone, then this will back up, so I will have to do something about that. Okay, that bit of spaghetti should do the trick for now. Luckily, we can later pick all of that up again to make it better, but for now it should do. What about our iron belts? We need some of the iron back here. I guess we could just go ahead and continue to feed those manually. So I'll just take an inserter in here, limit this chest, and then our manual things down here can run dry at some point because we won't need them anymore when we have a proper mob. So what are you missing? You're missing the correctly set inserters. Next thing we need, copper plates for this assembler and for that assembler. For that we will need to put down electric miners, route the copper through here, and set up another smelting column. And there we have it. Copper ore is being delivered over here. We have a bit of a mix with the coal belts, and then the copper goes to the 2 locations where we need it. First of all, over here for the, what are they called, automation cores, and then secondly over here for the copper wire. Let's look at the research. The next thing we should do is the foundry. And then we should have a look at electronics. For that we need graphite. For graphite we need to mine some of the graphite. And the thing is that we have these 3 miners over here that have only a bit of graphite each. Like, really only a handful. So what I would like to do is move this power pole and enter a splitter over here. Left is only coal, and the bit of graphite that we will be getting on this one, like the 200 or so pieces, I will just get off with an inserter. To mine the graphite, we will need steam. Let me build the mining drills. Luckily we do have steam back here. We only need to get it over. I decided otherwise. We will have our own boiler for the graphite. And I'll put that up here. So this goes over there. We could actually move this part. So, for example, like this. Have the splitter over here. And have this going like so. And then we can make our own boiler. Put it in here. Have the coal inserted from that belt. We still have to have the output priority to the right, so we still prioritize the power. And then we have the steam going into the miners. We have researched the foundry. Next would be this, but for steel we need graphite as well. So this is definitely the next thing we want to do. What we then need is water. Take this. And there we have it. So these will probably be mining coal right now, so to actually mine some graphite, I'll put down one more. Or we can just make a handful. And there we have it. And I'll take these belts and move them out here, and then we can split them up into coal and graphite and use the graphite from here. But that will be something for the next episode. Thank you for watching. Until next time.